My name is Rob Hurlbut. I'm the CEO of Attune Foods, and we are here at 535 Pacific Avenue in San Francisco, our headquarters. Attune was one of 4 companies that was spun out of an incubator of functional food and beverage ideas, which was called Brand New Brands. One of the opportunities that came out of this kind of business incubator was the idea that probiotics had gained a lot of interest and traction in Europe and in Asia. But in the US, for whatever reason, no one had really cracked the code of how to sell probiotics to American consumers. The health benefits of probiotics globally were getting to be pretty well known. And we were looking at how we might bring probiotics to consumers in a way that they really enjoyed. We actually developed a technology around including probiotics in a chocolate form. And then 2 years ago launched the company based on that basic premise that we would deliver over 5 times the live active cultures of yogurt in chocolate. We had made early on a decision to identify probiotic suppliers who had done a lot of work in terms of human clinical trials to demonstrate the benefits of their probiotic strains against, hopefully a fairly broad range of consumer benefits. In the end, we began working with one company out of the Netherlands that had done a lot of work with their strains to demonstrate their ability to improve both digestive health, and by that they meant the ability to avoid digestive discomfort and also feel energetic and effectively extract as much energy from your food. So if your gut is working well, you should be essentially getting as much energy as possible out of the food you consume. You should not be experiencing any major discomfort. And they had done a lot of work to demonstrate their strain's ability to do this. In addition, they had done specific clinicals with groups of athletes around increased immunity. And in this case, they had taken a control group as well as a group taking these strains of probiotics and demonstrated that they got sick less often taking the probiotics than the group that was taking the placebo. So we felt that those 2 fundamental benefits around increased immunity and around overall digestive health were pretty significant and ones that consumers would resonate around. The idea of digestive discomfort had been pretty, it wasn't a dialogue that Americans were having 2 years ago. I actually think of it somewhat similar to the change that happened several years ago when Viagra was launched in the marketplace. The idea of Bob Dole talking to Americans about erectile dysfunction is something that at the time I remember how shocking it was to see that happening on TV. And I think the first time people saw an Activia commercial, they probably had similar reactions to digestive discomfort. Why are you talking to me about this? And now it's very much part of the mainstream dialogue. I don't think consumers are ready to think of food as medicine. I think consumers are ready to think of food as providing health benefits. While it's true that eating an apple a day has real health benefits, that's an intuitive message that we need to translate into the idea of eating live cultures every day has health benefits. It's very different from saying eating an Attune bar every day will provide you with over 10 billion live active cultures across 3 strains that have been proven to deliver the following benefits. I mean, that starts to move into a very scientific discussion that, while some consumers are ready for it, I think the majority of Americans are not. And I think it will happen over time, and I think we're moving that way, but I think one has to be careful in how you speak to consumers about the benefits of things like live cultures today. It's just they may not be all the way to the point where they're ready to think of it as a medicine per se. I think it's a transition that is going to happen probably over the next 5 to 10 years. And I think that it's going to happen in large part because the economics around health and wellness are shifting so quickly. So consumers today are bearing some of their healthcare costs. They will be bearing more and more of their healthcare costs as time goes on. And as that happens, I think they're going to realize that there are 2 fundamental things that they can do to impact their expenditures on healthcare. One is lifestyle, so better exercise, better habits, that, quitting smoking, being one of the most obvious, but the other one will be nutrition. And I think when they think about what are the nutritional changes that they can make in their diet, they're going to be looking for solutions that are probably going to be more and more scientifically based. And as that happens, I think the likelihood of people looking for foods that contain certain health ingredients, or ingredients that will help them with certain health issues, will become increasingly the norm. Implicit in that idea is the idea of personalization. And I think this is something that we as a company certainly are thinking a lot about, and I think consumers are going to get exposed to a huge range of issues around personalization. So, which probiotic strain is right for you? Our guts are very different. Yes, every human gut contains over 100 trillion bacteria. You have probably 500 different strains of bacteria present in your gut. They're actually different from the ones that are in my gut. And the way they interact with each other and interact with your body are unique to you as well. So understanding the very complex sort of ecosystem of your own gut, and being able to then ingest foods and probiotic strains that will positively affect your gut, I think is sort of the long-term trend of where the industry needs to go, which kind of ripples back to the idea around Attune building a product that is as much a delivery system for probiotics as being built around a specific grouping of probiotics today. I know we hear all the time from consumers that, hey, your bars work great for me, while another product's probiotics did not. I'm sure that it goes the other way as well. We just don't hear that. That's for some consumers, an Attune bar may not provide the same benefit for them that a competitor's product does. And that makes total sense because the strains present in each of these products are, in many cases, different. I think we're probably 10 years away from having really good hard science around that is going to lead to, potentially people being prescribed very specific probiotic strains for very specific conditions. So that's sort of the kind of final, most medical application of probiotics. And, I'd say it's very much in its infancy, though. So, too early to say that, within the next 2 to 3 years you'll see products evolve out of this. But I do think that the learning out of this, the learning about various impact. I mean, people are doing a lot of studies now around the impact of probiotics on obesity. Are there certain gut structures that lead to, or that tend to create obesity in certain people and others that don't? There's a lot of thought that's been addressed around the idea that, increased asthma rates, increased allergen rates are in large part the result of a diet that has been really sanitized today. We formerly ingested a lot of foods that provided bacteria naturally into our gut that we don't today. So, I've heard descriptions of sort of, the diet from thousands of years ago, picking up rotten peaches and, rotting food and consuming that as a very good food source. It also came with it a lot of bacteria that you don't get in your diet today. So how do you address that effectively in a broad population? Is it just with probiotics? Is it with certain probiotics? Is it with, I think those are questions that have not been answered definitively, but it certainly has a lot to do with the composition of your gut. In the end, what we've also realized, though, is that the science around probiotics is developing and evolving very quickly. And we have made a decision to, really continue to innovate around the strains that we're including in our bars. And we are working with a number of manufacturers, and we'll continue to add and enhance the strains that we have in our bars to make sure that we're delivering the latest and greatest in terms of probiotic benefits.